Alright, making a video of my #2 simulator that Lee has created for me at Custom Sims. This is my C55 Baron simulator, customsims.com. Lee created me a first version. I wasn't happy with it, he wasn't happy with it, so he created another version, starting with the cabinet being built out of plywood instead of that MFD board or whatever it's called. So it's much better quality there. He also threw in this nice seat. It's a real car seat that attaches to the base. Has some very high-end rudder pedals that are used by Cirrus. And then the computer itself is a big upgrade. It has a 1080 GeForce card to run the video on the main screen, and then a 980 to run the screen in the panel. It's also liquid cooled. The processor, I forget which processor, but it's about the fastest you could get, and it's running an SSD drive for the main system and then the standard drive to hold the files. So very good computer, very fast. The panel itself is an exact replica of what my old C55 had, so I wanted to create it the same. The actual simulator is set up for a B58 Baron, so there's a little bit difference. The P3D simulation software doesn't have a C55 panel, but I wanted my panel, so recreated that. I'll show you how it works here. If you notice, I'm on cockpit display right now, virtual cockpit. You can see when I turn the yoke, it does the exact same on the simulator. Same in and out. If I move the throttle manually down here, you see it moving on the screen as well. And on the C55, the throttles and the mixtures are transposed, but again, they all work. Even the realism goes even right down to the switches. I have lights down, or switches for all my lights and de-ice and such. Give you an idea when I switch on my de-ice. Well, the de-ice switches come on. If I turn on my master switch comes on. Same thing with alternators, 1 and 2. So every switch is functional, even the keys. See the key move there? Then for the right side. So it's just like the real airplane. We also have on top of that, we have a G500, which I'll light up here in a minute, a 530W that isn't working, it needs a file installed. And then we have kind of a hybrid, I know it's hard to see because it washes out, but it's a hybrid combination Garmin King Navcom transponder lookalikes. So anyway, it all works. I'll show you how the startup sequence starts. What we do, make sure our throttles are back just like the real plane, our props are forward, mixture's idle cutoff. We'll make sure the flaps are up, which is this switch here, and the flaps do work. As you can see, the switch works there, and you can even see the flaps work in the simulator as well. Same thing with the gear, we got 3 green lights. So gear's down, flaps are up. I'm going to bring the mixtures forward. We'll start the right engine first. Oh, we won't start the engine until the master's on, just like the real plane. Turn everything on. Bring the avionics on, you see the G500 come up. Just like the real system, you have a button that you press, gives it real alerts. And the horse has to align. While it's doing that, we'll go ahead and fire up the right engine. There it goes. Fired up. Idling good. Left engine. There it goes. Running. And then I can even shut off the alternators. If you look here, if I turn off the right alternator, you get a warning. Turn off the left alternator, you get a warning. So just like the real airplane. Anyway, I'll switch to a normal cockpit. I'll also show you here, the autopilot, and this is hard to see because it washes out, but you can see here, I can adjust the altitude pre-select on the autopilot. I'm going to set it for 1,000 feet since we're at Fort Myers, and 1200 is the beginning of the Class C airspace. So I'll set pre-select for 1000, and it does the same thing on the G500. It fills in 1000 on the 500. I can also change it on the G500 by turning the knob and make it read whatever I like also. So there's 900, 800, and that's just by turning the knob on the G500. So I'll turn it back to 1000. There we are. So we'll turn on our strobe lights, we'll turn on our beacon light, and we'll turn on our landing light. I've set up a dusk departure at Fort Myers. Let me reset the camera here and we'll be ready to go. Alright, here we go. Let me get a different angle here so you can see more. There we are. Maybe hear me a little better too. Okay, this would be a different view out of the airplane, out the cockpit, but I don't like this view for flying. So I'm going to change this view. As if I was looking just out the window. And then I have two other views in the top left, one on the left wing, one on the right wing, which some people may not like. I like it. As you can see, I don't know if you can see in the video, but I'll shut my landing lights off with the switch down here. Landing lights go out. They come back on. We've got a Cherokee 180, 1,000 foot up with a mile out. So I'm going to beat him coming in because I don't like to wait for pipers. So strobe lights are on, beacon's on, landing lights on, gears down, flaps are up, mixture's rich, prop forward, throttle's back, all switches are on. I'm going to bring the throttles up. Again, we have altitude pre-select set for 1,000 feet. Lined up on the runway, I'm getting feedback in the yoke from going down the runway. I'm going to go full throttle. Fuel flow, 25 gallons per hour. Making power, airspeed alive, 50, 60, 70, getting some kickback here. Rotate, we're airborne. Little right rudder. Gear coming up. As the gear comes up, we get amber lights. The yoke kicks as the gear comes up. So now we're airborne. We're climbing at 1,100 feet per minute. Okay. Alright, I'm going to make a left-hand turn. I'm going to stay below 1,200 feet due to the Class C airspace above us. I'll bring back the props. I usually wouldn't, but to slow us down a bit, bring back the props, bring back the power to about 2,100. Then I can hit heading on my G500, and I'm going to bring my heading to straight west. There we are, that's close enough. So I'll hit autopilot on, heading, and then altitude hold. Now it's going to intercept 1,000 feet and stay there. So autopilot's flying, we're at 1,000 foot, 136 knots. Then we're heading 330. Again, if I take the heading and turn it, I'm going to turn it west. Notice the yoke turning with the autopilot. It has 1,000 foot nailed. Go in the direction I told it to. I'm going to turn the lights off, see if it looks any better. Okay, that gives us a better view of the imagery that P3D has. It's kind of pretty. Again, I'll turn the autopilot. We're near airspace, less than 2 miles. I have a traffic page I can look at, and a regular map page. So I'm going to turn back towards the airport. Again, I'm using autopilot. The yoke's turning as the airplane turns. The yoke turns back to straighten out, just like it would in the real airplane. Okay. We're set at 20 inches of power, 2,400 RPM. I'm leaning it back. Gears are up, flaps are up. I still have my landing line on. Airport's here, I'm there. This is Fort Myers Beach down here. I'm right over Cape Coral, actually. So I'm going to turn a little more left with autopilot. Again, the yoke moves, straightens back out. Okay, we're on a wide downwind. I'm going to go ahead and pull the power back. About 16 inches per side to slow us down. We're still at 1,000 feet. Autopilot's holding. I'm going to turn the autopilot to about a 140 heading. There's 140 selected. It's turning. Now it's straightening back out. We're going to go perpendicular to the approach end of runway 5. See it on my left screen up there. Probably can't see it on the video. Okay, we're below gear speed, 134 knots. I'm going to throw the gear. We'll see the yoke kick as the gear comes out. Kick, kick. And right gear. Kick 3 times, 1 for each gear leg. So I'm 125 knots, still holding 1,000 feet. I'll go ahead, I'm going to kill the autopilot. I could do a vertical speed descent, but I'll just kill the autopilot. Just like the real plane, you hit the red button, it disengages. I'm going to put in a notch of flaps. I get an indication here. You hear the flaps go. Feel it in the yoke. Now we're coming downhill, we're 880 feet. I'm over the bridge going into Cape Coral. So I'm still at 16 inches manifold pressure. I'm at 820 feet. Runway's over here on my left side. Going to bring it around slowly here. Got some traffic. That Cherokee is behind me. See him off my left wing. Okay, gears down. I'm going to leave the mixtures and props where they're at. That's the way I fly. We're at 95 knots. We got red over white on the lights on the runway. Alright, we're lined up with the runway. I'll go ahead and go full flaps. We're at 97 knots. I'll bring back the power to 15 inches. 95 knots. Gear is down, 3 green. 95 knots. Bring it back to power a little more. We're just a tad high. See my landing light start to show up on the ground here. Knots, killing the power. Gonna round out. Touchdown. Taxi down the runway here. We'll taxi over here. And then we'll go to flight ops. That's the FBO. Differential power to turn. Throttles all the way back. Props forward. Flaps up. Again, you can see if I turn landing lights on and off. I don't know if you can see that difference or not. So, turn off all the switches. Gears down, flaps are up, throttles back, props forward. Mixture's idle cutoff. Left engine first. Lose our left engine. Right engine. Lose the right engine. Avionics. Master. Alternators. Here goes the Piper. Mags off. And you're done. The gauges stay on and the simulator stays running. Another thing I did is I pre-programmed some buttons to give me different views on the big screen if I want. If I want to see off my left wing, I do that. There's that Cherokee flying away. I can look down out the right window. And this button here, whoops, this button here takes me back to my main view. So left, right, main view, and then I have left and right in the top hand corner. So overall, it works really well. The 530W needs to be repaired so it works properly. My trims here in the center console also don't work. I don't know what's going on. They are the manual trims. However, the trim here does work. So the trim on the yoke does work, but not those. So that gives you an idea of how it operates. And like I said, it's almost an exact replica of the panel I had in the C55. And it flies just like it. So it's pretty interesting.